Hello, everybody from Denver, Colorado. I'm Karen Gibbs. I'm the design director for Banyan Batiks, and we're talking about batiks today. Let's go back to basics or how batiks are made, the basic process of it. We've had some questions over the last few weeks, and we have new people joining all the time. And I just kind of want to go to that. So the basic concepts of what we're doing when we create a batik are identified here. Okay. So I start with a sketch. Everything starts with just a black and white sketch. I draw it generally on paper. Hey, Cindy, thanks for joining me today. And the sketch, where the black part of the sketch is where the copper is on the chop. Okay, so we take the black and white sketch and we make it into a chop or and I'll show you one. I think I showed you this one last week. Okay, this is from my Stardust collection, and that's going to be hitting stores probably February, March, maybe. Okay. Um, anyway, so this chop right here is created from my sketch. And you can see where there's colored in areas and where there's line work, right? So you want, when you create the chop, you want it to be a combination of both. Because what happens with the chop, it's dipped into a pan of wax. And the wax is then taken, this is the vessel that takes it to the fabric and puts it down on the fabric. All right. Why would you put wax on the fabric? Remember, it's wet and hot. Then it dries on the fabric, and where wax dries, it becomes a resist. All right. So it holds the fabric or holds the color that is in the fabric. Oh, Christine and Pat, thanks for joining me today. But where the wax is, that's the color is held for the motif. Okay. So what's the color for the motif? You get to choose. Do you want just white, what the fabric is, or do you want multicolor, or do you want a tonal kind of thing with a background versus the motif? So you identify the color, and the color is applied for the motif first, then the wax is applied, right? With the chop. The chop is about 8.5 inches square. All right. So the wax is applied onto the fabric to hold that motif color. All right. Generally, what happens, and you can see this piece right here, it looks gold, doesn't it? The wax does. But it's actually, that's wax on there. All right. It's not a color or anything. It was applied. The wax was applied to the white. So what color would it be held for the motif on this? It would be the white. All right. So this is a wax on white. So I can see how it repeats, and I can see how it fills in, and there's dots in there too. So there's a lot of different things going on. I can see how it repeats. Is it side by side next to each other? Is it like a half drop repeat? All different kinds of design elements, right? So the wax holds the motif color, which would be white. Now, after this wax is dry, so I think we showed some photos of some fabric drying, right? After each process, that piece of batik has to dry in between each process. So sometimes we talk about how long does it take to do 15 yards of something. Well, it depends, because it has to, how many processes are in it. We have to dry it in between each time. Okay, so the wax has dried on this, and we go through and we make sure that all the wax is adhering well to the fabric, and then we're going to take the background out of it, or I'm sorry, the color out of it, so we can then apply the background color. So where the wax is going to be the motif color. But if it's still, let's pretend this white right here is like a pink, a hot pink or something. Okay, that hot pink has to be bleached out so you can apply the background color on it. Okay, the wax would keep that hot pink, but then the background has to be bleached out, so it's washed, it's bleached. Okay, we stop the bleach and then we dry it again. All right, and then we're going to apply color for the background. And it can be a whole bunch of different ways. Maybe we have more of a solid coloration where it's quote dip dyed, or we do a smoking process, spelled smocking, okay, where we're scrunching it up like this. And what that does is it shoots the color off, like liquid. If you add color, say you get something on your sweater and it's a liquid and it's scrunched up, it's going to go all over the place, almost like a tie-dye, right? And that's kind of what the smoking process does. Another thing is we'll add soda ash, and you can see sometimes that in some of the photos or some of the videos that I've shown. And what that does is it disperses the color. So, for instance, what if I'm doing a hot pink, like I said, like a hot pink motif, and then I have to bleach it out for the background? Maybe it's still got a little bit of a pale pink in there because you can't get some of the colors, you can't get all of it out. You can't get it back to white. Okay, so I want to choose a color that would go over that pink, okay, that pale pink, that wouldn't make it look muddy. It would still give it a clear look. But if you do the smoking where it's scrunched and you add some soda on there, it helps the color disperse. Also with multis, if I do multis, the color gets dispersed a lot more if you do the smoking process or the soda ash, okay? So after the background, hey Peggy, thanks for joining me. So after the background color is applied and the laid in the sun and in the heat, and the soda ash has been applied, we then have to wash it, right? We have to get that wax off because the wax is holding the white, and now is the full reveal. Now we get to see the batik, how it's done. So maybe it's the hot pink on the motif, and then in the background is the purple. Maybe it's a multi in the motif, like hot pink and red and orange. And then in the background, it's purple, blue, and green. Okay, so that's when we get to see it. So after the background color is applied, then we're removing the wax. So we'll have to wash and fix the colors then. Okay, all right. So I think I showed you a little bit about the chop. I wanted to show you what I was talking about on the batiks. This is from the Painted Leaves collection here. Okay, Painted Leaves is in stores right now. And you can see this particular one right here. So the motif is like a white, right? It's kind of a creamy white. So to achieve a cream, it's a color, right? It's not just pure white. So we've got a little bit of color in there. The wax is applied and it holds that color, and then the background is applied. Now, if you look at this background, there's not a lot of like bursts of color, right? Or like salt in watercolor painting. It's more, the colors kind of disperse less dramatically. How about that? Okay, so it's more of a tonal in there. And I didn't use soda ash on this one. Okay, so I did scrunching and then applied just one or two colors, I think, on this one. And then it kind of dispersed to here, right? But it didn't go heavy there. I can see where the color was applied right there, okay? So that's a different way of applying it. After the background's applied, then the wax is washed off, all right? So that one's from Painted Leaves. Okay, hi Judy, thanks for joining me today. This one, check this one out right here, okay? That's almost like a plaid. There's no chop applied on that, okay? But what if I took that and I did it with a chop, okay? A chop is how we're applying the wax, okay? So first I applied the motif color, which makes it look like fossilized leaves, doesn't it? Isn't that pretty cool? Okay, so it's almost like a gray kind of thing, a warm gray tone. There's 2 or 3 colors in the motif, and you can see it better in this leaf right here where it's filled in, right? That leaf is filled in a little bit more than the fossilized one up there. All right, so that color is applied first, then the chop with the wax is applied to hold it. That grayish colors, those colors are bleached out, and then we've applied this plaid right here, okay? And we've done it with my favorite technique, squirt bottle. But that's the background. So the background is applied last, and then it's bleached, or I'm sorry, then it's washed off to get the wax off of it, okay? And then in between each step, like I said, it's either dried in the sun or it's hung up to dry. You've seen some visuals that I took when I was in Indonesia last. I do miss Indonesia terribly. I love going there and seeing the batiks made, but also the food is phenomenal. Okay, so here's another one from Painted Leaves, and this is a leaf design, right? And it's a white motif. So we're going to apply the wax. We have to apply the wax anyway, even if it's white, because we have to hold that white when the background then is applied over the wax, okay? And it's more of a gold kind of effect, right? Now let's see, let me see if I can find one that's got more of the burst kind of effect on it. So you can understand what I'm talking about with that, okay? Here are some from the coloring book right here, okay? The coloring book collection is in stores now. And you can see in this one here, the motif is lighter pinks, right? And then the background is applied last. And it's a more dark kind of maroon. It's showing up on my screen anyway as more of a red. But it's kind of a pink and a burgundy kind of feel. This one, the motif's white, and you use the wax to hold that color, right? And you can see the main print there in coloring book. We've got a whole bunch of different colors in the motif. That's applied first. All of those colors are applied, okay? And then the wax is applied to hold those colors in. And then it's bleached out, and this dark color, almost a blue color, is applied over it, okay? So if you have any questions, please make sure you post them for me, and I'll answer them. And anyone who has commented and asked questions, I'll make sure to do a drawing. We send out some little fat quarter bundles and do a drawing every single week. Thanks for sticking with me and moving to Friday. I took a little bit of the afternoon off yesterday to do some holiday shopping. So I appreciate you following me to Friday. We'll make sure we do it on Thursday next week, and we'll see you then. Thank you.